Welcome to the Produce or Die podcast. This is a show dedicated to video producers and filmmakers who want to achieve massive creative and financial success. So let's roll. Hello everybody and welcome to episode 4, Getting Paid. Once you realize you can add value with your skill set and make money, your whole world will open up. And while this is great, it can also be quite paralysing because it means we have to balance doing what we love, aka creating content, with finding an area of video in the marketplace that will pay us well without having to sell our soul to the man. As with the other episodes, we're going to go back and look at my journey and my experiences of how I started getting paid. So I had done film school, I had travelled for 6 months through Central America filming every day, and I had a new sense of confidence. I got back to New Zealand and I got a job working for a startup video production company called 90 Seconds. The way 90 Seconds works is they undercut their competitors on price and they operate on scale. And this means that they're always trying to make as many videos as they can as fast as possible. It was the perfect place for me to get my first paid job in the world of video. I learned how to create all sorts of business videos, from small businesses such as chiropractors or Chinese restaurants to some of New Zealand's biggest brands and businesses. And many times it would just be me, a one-man team, planning shoots, writing scripts, then shooting, directing, monitoring sound, and editing all by myself. I could be shooting a dentist video in the morning, and then in the afternoon I could be interviewing an entrepreneur worth hundreds of millions of dollars. It all blurred together into one crazy period where every day was different. The deadlines were so gnarly that sometimes I would have 2 shoots in one day, and then I would have to get both completed edits out within 48 hours. Because I was incredibly busy the whole time, and because I was fresh, I made every mistake that you can imagine. Things like getting back from a shoot and there's no audio captured, or everything's out of focus. One time I completely forgot to take a tripod on the shoot. But the biggest mistake I made was a shoot that we did for Rhythm and Vines. So for those who aren't Kiwis, Rhythm and Vines is New Zealand's biggest New Year's music festival. It was a pretty incredible experience and I got to interview some of my favourite artists. The funny thing was that because I was hanging around all of these celebrities, it went to my head a little bit and I forgot that I was actually there for work. And in the media tent, you get free alcohol. So my friends were out in the crowd, so what I would do was I would go into the media tent, I would grab bottles of real nice red wine, and then I would sneak the red wine out to my friends. In terms of the promo video, the most important moment that we needed to capture that we couldn't stuff up was the New Year's countdown. You probably know where the story is going to go. By the time the New Year's countdown came, I was absolutely trolleyed because I had been drinking all afternoon, trying to be cool and trying to impress all of the artists that were there. But being the professional that I am, even though I was completely cut, I grabbed my camera, I ran out into the crowd and I filmed the countdown. The next morning when I looked at the footage of the New Year's countdown, it wasn't my finest work. It was all out of focus because I was lying on my back filming the fireworks. And all you could hear was my friend and I yelling, "Oh my God, look at the fireworks, it's amazing." So yeah, you live and you learn. Looking back with hindsight at that period of my life at 90 Seconds, I learned heaps. And I believe there is so much value in being involved in every stage of the production process, and being thrown in the deep end had given me a massive advantage. And interestingly, working here was where the seed of entrepreneurship was planted within me. Prior to working here, I had no idea of the commercial potential of video, because the reason I got into video in the first place was from the pure joy and appreciation of storytelling and making content. And over the years, I've found this is very common with other video creators that I've worked with. They love telling stories and they're great at it, but they just haven't connected the pieces and realized that they can be making so much money with their craft. And once I realized that I could tell stories for businesses entirely by myself, my confidence shot through the roof, and I started freelancing and making videos in my spare time for extra money. And over the time while I worked at 90 Seconds, I had created videos for over 100 different businesses, and I had found my voice and a way of telling other people's stories in my own unique way. The problem with 90 Seconds was I was finding the business videos were often pretty dry and repetitive. I was also constantly living on the edge, and I wanted to know what it was like to work in long-form content, such as documentaries or films or TV shows. But thankfully, a new opportunity was on the horizon. That opportunity was a job working for Weta Digital as a runner. Weta is an amazing company, and they provide visual effects and post-production to some of the world's biggest film franchises. And it was built off the back of Peter Jackson's success with The Lord of the Rings. When I got hired, it was during the post-production of the third and final film of the Hobbit trilogy. While Weta is an internationally acclaimed and award-winning company, my role wasn't as glamorous. My job was to work on the night cafe and make toasted sandwiches. Weta Digital is huge, and there's all these different buildings that are full of these visual effects artists working on various stages of the post-production. And one of our biggest jobs was to deliver food to the people working late at night. So it was quite a strange environment. Us going around with a trolley full of chocolates and treats and cooking them toasted sandwiches. Basically, our job was to do anything that would stop them from leaving their desks. In many ways, it reminded me of a sweatshop factory, except they were getting paid a heck of a lot more. In the first few weeks of working at Weta, I was in heaven. Despite being paid just above minimum wage, Weta seemed like paradise because they had legit cafe, coffee machines everywhere, and the food was amazing. We got free dinners every night, and then on Fridays they would have beer o'clock, where there were fridges full of every type of craft beer you could imagine. And of course, being part of the night cafe, we would organize snacks. And on one particular night, we got $1,000 worth of KFC. It was like a mountain of KFC. It was insane. I was loving my job so much that I even got my girlfriend at the time a job there. I had always hoped to see Peter Jackson, or PJ as they refer to him there, in the flesh. This one day, Peter was working in the building, filming some pickup shots for The Hobbit. However, this particular day, I was sick in bed and couldn't make it to work. My girlfriend got to serve Peter Jackson some food, and when she told me she got to meet him, I was gutted. For the record, she told me that he ate 2 chocolate raspberry licorice logs. Like many jobs, I soon realised that it wasn't all it was cracked out to be. I also wasn't making any of my own video content or being challenged learning the craft. In fact, all I was really doing was putting a slice of cheese between 2 bits of bread and toasting it. I was impatient, and I wanted to be back on the tools. So while I admired the work people did there and the awesome reputation that Weta had, I realised it wasn't going to be me. And not long after that, I quit my job at Weta. Thankfully, through my own hustling skills, I had secured a job at Warner Brothers, a production company in New Zealand that makes all forms of reality TV. My role at Warner Brothers was an assistant editor. Reality TV and long-form storytelling was a completely different craftsmanship to what I was used to. But I learned fast, and over the next couple of years, I worked on some of New Zealand's most popular reality TV shows. Once again, it was a crazy experience. It was long, unpredictable hours, stressful, but also very, very interesting. Getting an insight into how they produce those shows and watching them craft these amazing, addictive episodes over and over was so eye-opening. To this day, I believe that the best editing skills you can learn come from editing reality TV. And I found learning how to tell stories with this format was extremely fun. Using emotions, getting good pacing, finding suitable music, enhancing conflict, all of these are the foundations of storytelling, And I think they're relevant to any type of video, whether it's reality TV or not. After about 2 years of working in reality TV, I knew the ins and outs of the format and the little nuances that are required to tell a good story. I had also started to get paid pretty well because you learn so fast on the job and you get better and better. However, once again, the deep desire from within me to make my own content started bubbling up. But now there was something different. I felt that I had the experience and the confidence to produce my own content that could be good enough for people to enjoy and to pay for. So I quit. It was time to go all out and make my own show. It was time for a new chapter. So that period of my life was pretty surreal. It was the first time I had started making money with my craft, and I worked at 3 different jobs in 3 vastly different companies. And what I learned looking back is it's not always about finding what you love, but instead eliminating what you don't love, and as a byproduct, what you love gets slowly revealed to you. The beauty of video is that there are so many opportunities and directions that you can go in. It's very versatile and you can mold it to yourself and your best strengths and talent. I believe there is a ton of value in working for others and getting a range of skills and experience across the different fields of video. But I also believe that the only way you can really find yourself as a person and as a creative storyteller is to step outside of making content for others and make something for yourself. Heading out on your own and telling stories that are important to you is a scary place to be. And that's exactly where I was heading next. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you on the next one. If you've enjoyed this episode or you want to give me any feedback, hit me up on Instagram at mearle.nz. Laters.